Well, hello there, folks. Let me fix my hat. And welcome to another installment of Toke Freely. Yay! So, how you folks doing today? Cool outside today. So, winter is coming. Time to cuddle up with somebody. Or lots of blankets or something. So, anyway, where's my pen? Okay, we have a new weed for you today, as usual. You know. But first, I want to ask you guys to please subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, and check us out. And don't forget to come check out my social media page on Facebook, Weed Smokers Unite. It's a great little page. A lot of little stuff be going on there. A lot of marijuanas from different parts of the world. All kinds of marijuanas. All kind of weed. That was marijuanas, all kind of weed. Uh, don't forget to come over here to Spring. Come check out my merchandise. You can just go to Spring, go to Toke Freely. That's two separate words. Oh, excuse me. We're having a problem with the website itself. So you can go over to, still can go over there and get the stuff. Just go to Toke Freely, look it up through Spring. You find the whole collection there. Uh, don't forget, donate to the Cash App, folks. We need you to do that. Trying to grow this thing into something big. And it's just $ Toke Freely. You can give whatever you want. There's no certain amount, but it will be appreciated. And what else? Let me think. Am I missing something? Well, if I did, I missed it. I feel like I want to say something else, but it's not coming out. I don't know what it is. I want to say something else. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't mentioned Toke Freely or New Way to Do It because Soul Time or New Way to Do It because we haven't countries into some stuff right now. But eventually, we're supposed to get it back started. So I don't know. But anyway, today, new weed today. The weed we got today is called, and I think I got this on the page too. It's called Pineapple Kush. You know, so it's unique weed. I've been smoking on it. Let me show you what it looks like. Is that a little loud? No, it's all right. So let me show you guys what the weed looks like. Here you go. Let me put it up there. There we go. Get a good look at it. Let me see. If I do that, is that a good look if I do that? You can see it better. Okay, so I'm going to just grab it to you. It's has some green, some red. Yeah, let me take a really good look. Some green, some red. Look like brown. And something looks yellow. So some green, some brown. Look like brown. Uh, like some golden or yellow. So green, red, brown, and yellow. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. That's what I'm seeing. All right. What else I'm doing? Okay. The smell. This weed has a sweet smell to it too. I wouldn't say it's unique. It's like I smelled it before, but the THC level don't seem to be so high on this one, like so strong. It's probably up there, but it don't come off very strong. It's very floral, a little bit of fruitiness stuck into it, a little bit of that greeny, grassy smell. But overall, it's a really good smell. Now the texture could be almost perfect. It's a little bit sticky, a little bit uh, kind of gummy in some areas. But I have had it sitting out for some hours, and it's starting to dry out. And I would suspect if it dry out, it probably would be dry out pretty good. But as it stands right now, it's a little sticky, it's a little gummy. but it breaks down pretty good. It's not fluffy or powdery, so should get a decent score on the texture. I like the smell. It's not really unique. Like I said, you can kind of smell that THC. It's not really as loud. It's kind of mixed in with the floral and the fruity smell. So let's go with our first joint, folks. Now that taste comes through, that and the THC. It comes through the weed. Now this weed is strong. I wish I knew. Okay. Ever since I've been smoking this stuff, I take big 2 4s off of it. I'm start coughing. But see, it made me forget what I was gonna say. So this kind of weed, this pineapple, what's it called? Pineapple Kush. I would say in the fact that the way it tastes and the way it reacts, because it is strong, folks. I have smelled on some other weeds higher in the THC level. Even though this one don't come across as strong, this weed is strong. You know, because that's my shit. I've been smoking it since yesterday. I was supposed to do a show yesterday. Ate so much. I mean, I just ate like a crazy man. I ate so much that I was immovable, put it that way, immobile. How you sit around after you eat a big old meal or something. It wasn't a meal, it was just a bunch of junk food. I hadn't had any junk food in a really long time because I have been trying to stay off of it to lose weight, so I have been staying off the junk food. But I must admit, yesterday, listen, I had cookies, pie, cake, uh, chocolate candy. I just had too much of the good stuff, and I got so stuffed. Plus, I had food too, so I still haven't eaten this afternoon today. So I'm letting all that work its way out. But you know, folks, I'm not going to get no medical advice because I'm not a doctor and I don't have no knowledge of medical. But I know a lot of people suffer from high blood pressure. And I'm not telling nobody to take my advice. And man, this weed's really strong. But a lot of times, when you suffer from high blood pressure, it's because we eat too much sugar. You know, and they say your sugar and stuff like that. It's not really the salt. You know, they blame salt, but you know, high blood pressure can come from sugar. But they say high sugar because your levels, you know, whatever is high. But if you cut everything in half, you don't have to stop eating anything you enjoy eating. Just cut it in half. Cut it to a portion that fits you. You see what I'm saying? Oh yeah, you're gonna be hungry because it's gonna take your stomach a minute to get used to. But once it starts to digest through your stomach and stuff, you lose that feeling to eat. I mean that urge, uh, urge to eat. But some people, they'll feel like they're never full, you know, so they'll eat a little bit. They don't really have that urge, but it's just an oral fixation. That's what I call it, just an oral fixation. You got to keep something in your mouth. And for other people that work in other things, you know, some people like keep other things in their mouth, you know. But even cigarettes, smoking weed, it's sort of an oral fixation, you know. You constantly have to put something in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard thing to break, you know. But people who suffer from high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high sugar. Cut everything you eat in half. Stop drinking pop. You know, see, I do drink soda, but I drink ginger ale because a long time ago I had a gastritis, and you know, actually a doctor told me. He said best thing to do just drink some ginger ale. You know, so I had to plug this over to use it all morning. You know, and I have to admit that have always that have always worked. Now you get some big old belches out you, boy. You be, but that's why I drink ginger ale to this day. And ever since I've drank the ginger ale, I've never had the problem with gastritis anymore. And I used to have high blood. I used to have hypertension. That's what they used to call it back then. They used to call it hypertension, which I think is the same thing. It's probably having high blood pressure, you know. And if you cut down, uh, I once had a man tell me uh, he was suffering from high blood pressure, you know, and the doctors couldn't get it down. He said he went to, because he was from, I'm gonna say India, but he might not have been from India. But he seemed like that type, you know, that voice and everything. He said his physician told him to eat more salt. You know, eat more salt, eat natural salt, don't eat processed salt. So let me say that. He said eat more salt, and he did. He said he ate more salt. He said he didn't have no problem with high blood pressure and nothing else again. You know, and as far as sugar, when your sugar levels up, you know that comes from fried food too. You know, it also can come from fried food. And listen, I love fried food. I ain't gonna even lie. I love from fried chicken, some fried fish. Hell, you could shit. If it's friable, I'll probably eat it. Put it that way. Shit, you can put some asparagus and some grease and fried. I'll probably eat that shit. Some ketchup, you know what I'm But a lot of stuff. If you really cut down on what you eat, and the portions that you eat on, you will lose weight and it won't bother you. You see what I'm saying? And when you really start really losing the weight, most people, it'll motivate them to go for their goals or whatever. Because that's what I do. I don't go on diets and shit like that because they never last. Diets do not work. Now, this keto thing, listen, half my family done keto. Some of them lost weight, but some of them gained it right back. So, so it seems like it just constantly keep you on that, because they know you're gonna crave for food. Because you used to eat like me. Until I had a heart attack. I was a hamburger, cheeseburger eating maniac. Yeah, I would go to different places that I heard about, had really good burgers and shit like that, man. I go, you want to know some good burger places? I know some damn good burger places, man. I mean, all over this city, you know. And then, like, even at one time, in my earlier years, when I was like early 20s, I was into chili. And I still like a good chili. Nobody really, 20, well, I can say 20 because I'm in my 60s now, but well, I'm 60, put it that way. But when I say in my early 20s, stuff like that, it was a lot of great places here in Chicago to go get chili. Now it's all of those same old, like everybody use the same beans and the same sauce, and nobody, and I probably could make a better chili than half these people out here selling chili now because they selling, it's the processed shit. I used to go to restaurants, some restaurants, tiny ones. I always search for tiny ones because, people always want to go and be bougie and have wine and shit like that and pay a whole bunch of money for a steak. I used to go to little, what I call boutique restaurants. That's what I've always called them that because they always remind me of boutiques. But I would go to a little boutique restaurant, man, have a great dinner, bottle of wine, great service. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't be all hoopty doopty, like you go in there or waiting line, or got dressed up with a suit and tie to get in the shit. It was always come as you are. It was always good, clean places and shit. And the food was 9 times better than the food that you go out there and spend all that money for. And I haven't been to those. Me and my wife have been to those fancy restaurants. That was one of her fantasies back in the day to eat at fancy restaurants. And I would still say to this day, they don't interest me. I mean, some of them had really good food, but you paid a lot of money for it. You know what I'm saying? When we went to one place, I'm not going to mention since I'm on here. It's down on Halston Street. It's not downtown. It's near. It's going downtown. It's a Greek restaurant. Now, years ago, when I played football and stuff like that, sometimes we used to have banquets there. You know, and this particular day was special with me and my wife, and I thought about it. I said, hey, let's go to this certain place. It's well known in Chicago. It's still there to this day. Okay, and we spent more than I wanted to on a meal that I was totally unsatisfied with. I mean, totally unsatisfactory. My wife had calamari. I don't know. I need to ask her if she ever enjoyed that, if she even remember, you know. But it was so expensive that the money that I had saved up to do all this stuff, because I had actually planned to go somewhere else. I was sort of talked into going to. I was talked into going somewhere else, and I brought up that place, which I probably shouldn't have done. But anyway, because I was prepared to go to another place, but the money I had saved up, it took almost all the money that I had saved up for us to have a good night out with, in that little funky ass fucking restaurant, that the food was mediocre to bland, couldn't taste the seasoning. It was just horrible to me. And I spent a lot of money, you know. Following year, I took her to a place in Chinatown. Best meals we ever had. I think I spent $54 or something like that. But have wine, could have had Chinese wine, could have had sake. They had a variety of wine. You know, I probably spent more than that, but maybe $60. You still have to say this was like 20 something years ago. So, I mean, you wouldn't expect to have the same prices that you would have now, but it's just ridiculous, that these restaurants call themselves upscale restaurants, but the food don't be that great. The food don't be that great. I even went to a beef stroll. It wasn't my wife, it was me and some buddies. Where did we go? It was a job I worked at or something, but we went to a supposedly French beef stroll, and I had beef stroganoff. They was offering beef stroganoff and leg of lamb and stuff like that. So I think I had leg of lamb and beef stroganoff. That's exactly what I had. I had leg of lamb, beef stroganoff. You know, lamb was bland. You could only taste the seasoning on top of the meat. You couldn't taste it in the meat. Beef stroganoff was soupy. You know, like they didn't. It's like they didn't think that But I guess me being a black man, they guess I think I was cultured enough. They didn't think I would know the difference. But see, I knew people, and they wasn't French. They were, I think, German or Polish or something like that. But I had a friend. His mother made beef stroganoff from scratch, so I knew going in what real beef stroganoff. And leg of lamb. I've been eating lamb all my life. Ever since. Well, I say all my adult life. You know, I was introduced to lamb. And I know what a leg of lamb should taste like or rack of lamb. I know what the flavors it should have. And this place was horrible. And people was like, "Oh, the food was great." I was like, "What did they eat?" Because if they ate what I ate, the food was not great. It was hell no, it was not great. But I ate it anyway because it was an expensive meal. Shit, I was paying for it. I'm one of them people that can literally eat anything. Not, I ain't said I like anything, but I could literally eat anything. If my life came down to it and I had to kill some weird animal and cook it up, I probably would do it to survive. You know what I'm saying? They were like, "What is that?" I don't know what the fuck that is. It's got meat on it. I eat the bitch. Fuck it. Couldn't be no worse than anything else. But I used to watch those shows. That means we bring this show. I used to watch this show. I think the guy was Welsh or something like that. But he was a well-known, world-famous chef. And this guy, it's come on PBS. He used to catch his own food, kill it right there on the screen. And I guess since people thought it was food, they didn't look at it as like a slaughter or something like that. But that man didn't have no qualms about killing any living thing. I mean, he killed it right there. Cut it, pull the guts out, and she talk to you at the same time. And I think he must have got some backlash for it because he stopped doing it. He stopped doing it on camera. I guess people because he seems so nonchalant. He seems like one of them kind of guys. And I know a lot of chefs because I know Country's a chef, and I have another friend. I have a few friends that chefs, you know, and they don't seem to have no problem, cutting up, a living thing, to make it, because they believe fresh is the best way. But it makes you think that could they do that shit to a human, you know, and cut his ass up and serve him, like a delicacy on a, you know, it's this disturbing film that's going around on. It's on everybody now. I've seen it on. Have I seen it on YouTube? I might not have seen it on YouTube, but I've seen it definitely on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Of these people, it seemed like they roasting people, You see, it's like aisles, of spits going, and these people on the spits. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Those are not people. I had to look at it really good, and I was almost believing it. But it's two things and I think what I think they are either goats or lambs. That's what I think they are, either goats or lambs. Because even if you look at how a goat and a lamb and their chest work, most animals like that, their chest would stick out with like a person's chest. And if you cooking them on a spit like that, and you got their legs and stuff crossed, if you look at the feet, the chest, and the torso, you would see those are not people. You know, it looks like people. I suspect they're goats. That's what I think they are. I think they're goats. Not even lambs. I think they're goats. And the way they stretch them out on the pits and the way they do it, it almost looks like a human body. It does almost look like a human body. But I'm almost sure they're goats. I'm almost sure they're goats. You know, because there's no way that people would allow that and there wouldn't be some kind of backlash. And even though I haven't seen any script on it, but I'm pretty sure those are goats. Because if they're allowing people to cook people like that, excuse me, there should be an international uproar for that shit. You know, or it's just a lack of humanity. It's just a lack of humanity. Trying to prepare you for something. It makes you think how much human flesh we eating anyway. These restaurants, you know, that's why I'm starting to get really weary about restaurants. Even eating chicken and stuff like that. You know. And I ain't saying that the small ones are any better, but hey, I love restaurant food. I'm one of the people that love restaurant food. And it would break my heart if I had any knowledge I ate human flesh. I would probably woo, it'll probably tell me what the fuck I probably would lose it because you know how sacrilegious that is to a person like me. You know, man, I probably become a priest after that because I'm gonna kill a whole lot of people and then return to God. You know, because I think that would be one of the lowest things. I mean, even though that stuff been going on through history, you know, and our people suffered it the most, believe it or not. They eat our ass, boy, like we were roaches and some shit like this. Chocolate gumdrops and shit. Some niggas dinner time. you know, shit, they ain't care. I'm making light of it, but I know it's not funny, folks. When I make these kind of jokes, I'm making light. Okay. I ain't making dark. I'm making light. Hey. But anyway, back to the total subject. Yeah, if you cut down on just half, like my thing is chocolate. I love chocolate. I like chocolate food, chocolate women, chocolate everything. I love chocolate, and I have to literally physically fight myself not to buy chocolate. You see what I'm saying? Because I like chocolate cakes, chocolate candy, chocolate bars, chocolate. I'm just a chocolate holic. You know, but I know at one point, man, I had picked up so much weight. I think I was weighing. I think my highest I ever weighed was like 250 something. Because I usually hover around 220, 225. That's usually my weight for years. I'm just a little bit over it now. That's why I'm trying to lose a little bit more weight. But I was out like at 250 something, like 255, 256. And even though people say I didn't look bad, I felt, you're not used to carrying that. Extra 25 pounds is still an extra 25 pounds. You see what I'm saying? And you just start looking at stuff, you're like, wait a minute, I'm getting breasts, you know, gut sticking all over the place. I never liked that. You know. So it does become when you get and then you're not exercising and stuff. It does become, I would say, unattractive. And you shouldn't force a person. It's just, especially your opposite sex. If you wasn't like that when they met you, you shouldn't force a person to accept it if it comes along. You see what I'm saying? If you was skinny little fine thing. And everybody gains weight, we gain weight, we get older and everything, you know. But if you're not putting no effort into it to try to look your best for your spouse or look your best just for you, you know, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know, other people consider people ugly is because they think they don't take care of themselves. To me, that's how people define ugliness. I mean, if you want to say somebody is physically ugly, you know, that's a matter of opinion because somebody that may think that you're ugly, somebody else may think that you're beautiful. You know, so that's always an open book. But if you catch yourself just constantly picking up weight, and you eating, you know, there's either an underlying problem. Either you enjoy eating a lot, you're suffering from some kind of trauma or some type of embarrassment or shame or, you know, and you would get people that'll argue that I'm just fat, I was born that way. No, you wasn't. You could have been born a fat baby. You know, I was a 10-pound baby, my mama said. Okay. That's because my mama liked cheeseburgers. Okay. When she was carrying me. That's why I weighed 10 pounds. It wasn't because, you know, I'm just a big old baby coming out. No, my mother was eating cheeseburgers like they had stopped making us. Probably why I love cheeseburgers and hamburgers, you know. But even though she did have me, and I was a big baby, and she picked up a lot of weight, my mother was able to lose that weight, you know, back then, you know, to have 4 more other kids. So, you know, but if you catch yourself gaining the weight and you really don't think there's nothing you can do about it, it starts to make you depressed and that kind of stuff, just take half of what you normally eat, and that's it. And come back to the other half 4 hours later. That's what I meant to say. You know, eat the other half 4 hours later. Because if you eat like every 4 hours, it starts to make your metabolism, believe it or not, speed up. And you think you eat, well, I guess you trick the body into thinking you eat more and it has to burn up more. It will burn up more, you know. And believe it or not, you will lose weight. You notice that a lot of people that gain and exercise eat a lot of protein, you know, and some even eat carbohydrates, even though they tell you not to eat it, you know, depending on what person, athlete, whatever they do. But if you notice, you actually eat more because when you start exercising, your body generates more energy and it eats up the food that's in your belly, and you would come back and eat again, you know. That's all you have to do if you catch yourself really picking up the pounds and you don't like it. You know, you don't have to change nothing you eat. I'm a witness to that. You don't have to change nothing you eat. I keep falling off because I'm old and lazy. But if I really wanted to, I could lose even more weight because I could just cut my meals in half. You know, and that's basically what I do now. Except I don't go back. If I cut it in half now, I probably don't eat the rest of it the same day. If I don't eat it in that sitting, I probably eat the rest of it the next day. You know, something I save it for the next day or something like that. You know, but I was a witness to it. I used to do it myself when I started picking up weight. I would just cut everything I had. If I bought, even if I bought like a Whopper at a double Whopper at Burger King, I just cut it in half. You know, and I eat half the fries with it. You know, and put the other half away. And then after a while, you lose start up. You go, oh yeah, I got a so and so in the refrigerator. You look at your hours, 4 or 5 hours later, it's okay to eat it. You know, and just keep that up. My little health philosophy, you know, of the day, you know, since we're going into the holiday seasons, you know, we're gonna be eating our asses off. You know it. Who don't like turkey and stuff like that? I mean, who don't? You know, and for the people who don't eat meat, you know, I'm so sorry for you. Woo, because there will be meat on my table. Okay, 'cause I'm a carnivore. I ain't gonna even lie about it. But for you folks that don't eat meat, you know what? I always say for people that don't eat meat, should eat more soul food because, uh, believe it or not, we through the years we added more meat. But if you go back to how the origin of soul food and how it became and stuff like that, and certain parts of it you have to leave out, you know, you will see that we ate very little meat. We ate very little meat. That's why you got the pork and the greens when you have the greens. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you have the garlic and the potatoes when you have potatoes. You know, people think garlic potatoes is a white man thing. No, it's not. That's black folks. Okay, that's a black man thing. garlic potatoes. You know, it's black people thing. Put it that way. Why do you think that they created dressing? You see what I'm saying? To stretch the food that they had. You see what I'm saying? You know, and they made basically delicacies out of that food because now the younger generation don't even cook the shit. You know, if they do, they don't know what they're doing. You know, my daughter, well, my stepdaughter cooks. She makes dressing, but I don't think my daughter makes dressing. Yeah, I can't remember, you know, daughter, she cooked turkey and stuff like that, but I don't remember her making any dressing. I might be wrong. I'm sure she'll correct me if I'm wrong. But and plus they're older, you know. The one's 40s, one's 30, so they're older. But I'm talking about the younger chicks, the younger generation. I have ran some across some young girls that cook, but to the majority of them don't seem to cook and don't seem to want to cook, and they get the kids hooked on Burger King, McDonald's, and all that kind of stuff. And it's not really good for them, you know. Bring them back to the stuff, but you know, and learn about the origin of how because people I'm gonna say that I'm gonna do this. I'm running off, but I do. People don't really understand how soul food came about, and a lot of times they trash it because a lot of it was, you know, like greens was overcooked. You know, a lot of our food was overcooked. You know, but I swear it's made some of the best food. You see what I'm saying? But you know, black folks then and now that still do it knew how to put their foot in that food, knew how to make that food a meal because they had to go out there and struggle, you know, picking and cotton and whatever else they had them picking and doing and, you know, abominations they had them into. But if you go back to the origin of how soul food came about, you know, you can see it's a mixture of, you know, African tradition and culture, American food, I'm going to say American produce, you know, because it was some food brought here from the motherland. But how they took the food and rearranged it and made it work for us as a people. You know, it's a fascinating thing to find out, man, that a lot of food that y'all think ain't slave food is slave food, believe it or not. You know, and the whites took it and, you know, prissied it up and made it more presentable, you know, to the masses. But it came from our people, you know, slavery days trying to survive, you know. And a lot of it is really good for you because it's been cultured to our body. You know, people don't really understand that. You know, but anyway, for the smell, and I will be getting a commercial. The smell is good. I like it. You know, I have smelled this smell similar. Okay, because every weed don't have the exact same smell, but it does have a familiarity to it, and it does have a hint of like a pineapple. I have to say, I just smelled it when I did that. You know, so I guess it does live up to the name because I was going to say it don't have any pineapple, nothing, just a name, but there's like a hint of smell of pineapple, you know, in there, and I like the smell, even though it's different from, you know. Well, I can say it's different. It's a good smell. It should get a high score, and I'm going to give it a 9. I won't give it a 10 because it's not unique. It's not nothing I ever smelled before, and it don't really, the smell does not stand out. But it's a good smell, high quality. It deserves that 9. Taste. The taste is excellent. No aftertaste, no cotton mouth. You know, matter of fact, you know, it's very lucrative, you know, lucid in there. But anyway, it's very good taste, very good aftertaste. Nothing to complain about. I'm going to get a taste of 10. Flavor, same thing. Great flavor. You can taste the sweetness and everything. You can taste everything I smell. You know, somebody tastes the pineapple. But I can taste everything except the pineapple I smell in the weed. It's good, it's sweet. You know, I even have an aftertaste of it. The aftertaste is even sweet. So I'm very impressed with that. That's very good. I'm going to give that a 10. Texture. The texture is 99%. You know, for me, it needs to dry out a little bit more, but the dry out parts perfect. It's still a little gummy, a little sticky. So I won't give it a 10. I would give it a 9 because I'm pretty sure once it completely dries out, it would be perfect. And I've noticed by been sitting out some hours, it seems to have gotten more potent too. So I'm gonna give that a 9. Buzz a high. This is a high right off the bat. After you get through coughing, you're gonna be high. So I took 2, 3 pours, buzzing high. I'm gonna have to put that at a high as a 10. Okay, point and peak. Very early in the joint, like I said, 2, 3 pours. Point and peak, get a 10. Now see, usually I argue, cut you down about these, and I'm pretty sure he probably like 10, 10. I'd be like, no, not a 10, but I have to admit, this is 10 quality weed. Accessibility. I'm gonna give accessibility a 10 because the people that know where I get this type of weed from, they know where it's from. So yes, accessibility is a 10. Quality, overall quality, I would give it 10 because the little stickiness and stuff is not enough to take off anything away from the quality itself. Doesn't hurt the quality whatsoever. So I get a quality, overall quality gets a 10. Potency, now, like I said, I've had stronger weed. This weed is strong, it's not 10 strong. I would give it an 8. And comfortability, there will be comfortability. I'm gonna give comfortability a fair score because every time I smoke this weed, I cough. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a fair score that I think is fair, and I'm gonna give it an 8. Okay. Do I even need the thing? I might need it. All right, let's do this. And we're gonna pull up the calculator, folks, and I'm gonna get out of here. So for the smell, we gave it a 9. The taste, we gave a 10. The flavor, we gave a 10. Right. The texture, we gave a 9. Buzzer high, we gave a 10. And point of peak, we gave a 10. Accessibility, we gave a 10. Quality, we gave a 10. Potency, we gave an 8. And comfortability, I also gave it an 8. And so our total score equals is almost an excellent, but it's a great. We got a 94 on our pineapple kush. My pineapple kush. I think I've been saying crush, haven't I? Pineapple kush. Okay. And hey, that's a great. 1 point away from an excellent. And like I said, I'm very impressed with the overall weed. It gets high marks in my book. And I have been asking the guys to step the weed up, and they stepped it up for me. So go out there, folks, get you some pineapple kush. You're going to enjoy it. There's nothing more I can say about it. It's a sativa. It's not an indica. It's high on the THC for people who likes that. Great taste, great aroma, great smell, great high, great everything. It's great all the way around. So, folks, until next time we meet, God bless and toke freely. Bye-bye, folks.